Hi, my name is Felina Hansen, and I'm the president of the San Diego chapter of the National Association of Women Business Owners. This is the Women's Advocate Award, sponsored by Bank of America. We are grateful to Bank of America for their continued dedication to NAWBO, not only here in San Diego, but also nationally. So here's a short clip describing how Bank of America supports female entrepreneurs.
Every country wants to grow its economy, wants to create jobs, wants to ensure shared prosperity for its people. And women entrepreneurs are extraordinary engines that contribute to economic growth.
No country, no community, no corporation can afford to leave women behind and think they're going to be able to compete in a global marketplace.
Research after research shows that if you invest $1 development dollar in a woman, 90 cents of that she will spend on her family, on her community, anything other than herself.
Women are 50% of the world's population, and they deserve to have the tools and access to expertise to get them to a place where they are really fulfilling their potential.
Women are our best investment, and I think they think differently. They're also looking at business differently. They're starting different kinds of business, and they're just incredible entrepreneurs. I see the tenacity, I see their businesses, and I see the potential for growth.
You have more women on boards. You have more women in senior management. They are speaking up, speaking loudly, making decisions. And when all that happens, a lot of things change.
Before we dive into the panel, do remember that voting is only open for 1 week. So go to bravaawards.org and vote today for your favorite women's advocate.
Hi, my name is Lisane Basquiat. I am the owner of Shaping Freedom. Shaping Freedom is a personal growth company focused on helping people to have a great relationship with themselves. I'm also the owner of Hera Hub Carlsbad, which is a female-focused, gender-inclusive co-working space and business accelerator in Carlsbad, California.
I'm Valerie Grant with Grant Consulting Services. I'm the founder and CEO, and we help organizations across the globe to obtain funding to help other people in need. I am also the current chapter president of the Grant Professionals Association for San Diego County, and we help grant professionals to do continuing education and network and do grant stuff.
I'm the founder of Low Red Balloon, and I help incredible, deserving, hardworking human beings find the language and the strategy to advocate for salary increases in a more equitable world. And then in order to learn and double and maximize that impact, I also now work at Merrill Lynch in their financial advising program. So helping people double their income, my future goal is to help them invest it and grow it.
Hi, I'm Deanna Nunez. I am the founder of VitalMind Inc. and Mind Body Fit Club. I am a professional hypnotist and coach, and I help women to break through those internal conflicts they've been carrying that are limiting their success, and to be able to reach forward towards what they really want to create in their lives, financially, as well as physically, in their well-being.
Hey everybody, I'm Michelle Bergquist. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Connected Women of Influence, and we are a association that is all for professional women and women who lead people or projects or teams or even a company. I'm also co-founder to Sue Talks, which are like those other talks, and these are talks that are designed to be about successful, unstoppable, and empowering women who are changing the face of business.
I'm Kimberly Ahrens. I'm the founder of Ahrens Law APC. And what we are is a law firm that provides legal services geared toward achieving justice and equality. One of the ways we do that is we focus in the area of employment law, and we represent employees who have been wronged some way in connection with their employment, and also people who have been sexually assaulted or sexually harassed.
Hi, I'm Janedra Sykes. I'm co-founder of Arboreta Group. We're a women minority-owned firm that serves government, nonprofits, and small businesses in whatever they need, basically. We're a full-service firm that provides grant writing services to evaluation, to building a website, to doing a social media marketing plan.
I take a lot of time to mentor other attorneys who are usually females and they're unhappy working at their law firm and want to branch out. Sometimes those women even want to leave the practice of law. So one of the things I try to do is mentor female attorneys and non-binary attorneys in those situations to encourage them to open their own law firm or go out and be a solo practitioner. It's one of the reasons I opened my own law office in 2008, was to have more control over my schedule and be able to juggle parenting and everything else that comes along with life. So that's one way I really find that I help women-owned businesses. I also do take on clients and help them with startups. And I also serve on various boards that have a similar mission to advance the status of women in society.
I co-founded Arboreta Group to provide for women what I was really fortunate to have myself. I was a single parent, and I happened to raise my son next with two other women who were neighbors, who were single parents of sons, and we had each other's back when it came to work. I always knew that if work tied me up, one of them would pick my kid up and give them dinner. If I had a business meeting out of town, I knew there was a place for him to stay. And as he grew into adulthood and I didn't need that kind of support anymore, I looked at the younger women that were around me and they didn't have it. And what I wanted to do was create a place where that was flexible and supportive, that women can do their work without that stress. So there's 4 of us in Arboreta. We're a 4-person firm, and 3 of my partners are young mothers with school-age kids. And so we try to keep in an environment where they're supported and flexible, and we're outreaching that to other women. When our business is good and we're flush, we focus on subcontracting with other women and women of color to give them that opportunity to have the flexibility and the support to do good work and be a good parent at the same time. You know, I was really fortunate that, you know, raising my son, I can count on one hand the number of little league games or school plays that I missed, and had fingers left over. And I think that all women everywhere in the workforce should have that opportunity and have that structural support system to be able to do that.
I do not believe that women need to sacrifice their health in order to run a successful business. And so I come in as a coach and as a hypnotherapist to be able to help that business owner be able to, really execute at their highest level without that sacrifice of their health, being able to balance their well-being, their health and fitness, and particularly in the area of mindset. My programs reveal some of the internal blocks that they've had around imposter syndrome, their own confidence, their own self-esteem that they bring into building their business. We all know as women that that is such a huge part that kind of happens behind the scenes in our minds as we're growing, is that question that we ask within ourselves: who am I, to run a successful business? Who are you not to? All of us have that ability and capability, and often it's about tapping into that and really just truly believing in yourself.
As I was sharing earlier, my focus is teaching people the language and strategy to negotiate for more favorable and equitable terms in their employment or with their clients. And a significant portion of the people who attend class, because we scale different events, and my goal this year is to help 500 people earn $5 million in salary increases over 5 equal pay days. So why is that important, and how? A significant chunk of those people are contractors, independent business owners, or they've been forced into entrepreneurship now because of COVID. And so it's like, how do you even have any conversation around your own equity, around your pay rate, around your fees, when you're terrified of having that conversation, and then you work to avoid it, or you discount your rate, or a combination and a multitude of different iterations of what avoidance around your income, your wealth, your value can mean. And so my job and my goal is to help any person who chooses to walk through that door. And so I do that in 3 ways: through private coaching, but I know that's not accessible for everyone. So I have donation-based office hours for Saturday of every month. And I've been working with people every single week, every day, every month, the past 3 years since I've learned this information. And I'll be doing it till the day that I die. On the other side, I'll still be in the grave talking about it. Were you paid fairly?
Let's see, it's interesting that we're doing this interview now, just because for Connected Women of Influence, this is our 12-year anniversary as an association as of this month. So we're celebrating through what we started and what we are now, I think are very interesting. But in the way of supporting women-owned businesses, I find it fascinating that it's not about me and being the smartest woman in the room. It's really about the community and those that you interact with. And I think one of the most amazing parts is how women in the right environment, right, as women owners, or even as career women who want to start small businesses, because that's our professional community as an association, is women can learn from each other. It's like they can bring value to each other. I think the biggest impact I've seen with how we support women-owned businesses is the collaboration. And collaboration, I know, is a big word and it means a lot of different things, but in our organization, it can mean joint ventures. We've seen women that have collaborated together to be able to do business formation together. They're involved in, doing collaborative types of events together, and just things that really make it where, if I can put this analogy in, a lot of men do a lot of deals on the golf course, and a lot of women, they do it over conversations, wine, and discussion. So from that standpoint, that's how we've made an impact, because we've seen women owners flourish, get certified, do better business, increase sales, all those wonderful things. But when it's smart, determined women that can collaborate together and learn from each other, amazing things happen.
My mother had to make a really challenging decision, a really hard decision, to have my father raise us, because at the time she was not in a position to be able to raise us with the financial security that we had living in a 2-parent home. And at the time, as a young child, I was really upset about that and really angry with her. And it took many years later for me to understand that what happened was actually 2 things: an act of love, incredible love. I don't know if I could do that. And also a decision that had to be made out of the lack of opportunity for women at the time, both in corporate and I think entrepreneurial, completely, not in the entrepreneurial world. And so that really resonated with me and has lived with me and has really been the driving force for the work that I've done throughout my life. I worked in corporate for many years, and within corporate, I did business transformation and organizational change management. And while doing that work, alongside managing these huge enterprise-wide projects, I also mentored women who were at earlier stages of their career to help them to navigate the corporate landscape, which is a challenging landscape to navigate, absolutely, because it's really not built for women, and it's not built for the lives that we have as mothers and caretakers. Today, I own Hera Hub Carlsbad, which is, as I mentioned before, a female-focused co-working space and business accelerator, but it's so much more than that. It's about helping women to thrive in their business through looking at women as whole human beings. We're not just these like kick-ass women who are out there, building revenue. We are women who have whole lives that we're bringing to the table as we're building our business. I founded Shaping Freedom, which is a personal growth company by category, but the focus is on helping individuals and supporting them toward having a better relationship with themselves, with a focus on how that translates into an improved familial legacy.
The main reason I started my company about 20 years ago is so that I could be a single mother at home with my sons and be involved and not have to make a choice between work and the corporate world and caring for their needs. And one of the best things that I've done in my business career is to become a member of Hera Hub Carlsbad. So thank you, Lisane. I became a member about a year ago, and I have so much enjoyed collaborating and learning from other women. I've been able to teach several classes about how to become certified as a woman-owned business, as well as some other certifications. My company is an SBA certified company and a women's business enterprise certified. And then I also provide free guru hours for organizations interested in securing funding. So I'm offering that as a service to nonprofit organizations and primarily women-owned companies. And I work with a lot of women-owned businesses to help them to secure funding. We also provided free technical assistance for the EIDL and the PPP loans during the initial months of the pandemic. And that was to primarily all women-owned businesses. And probably the biggest reach that we have is through our work is with the nonprofit organizations that help women and especially women-owned businesses to scale up. So I now work with 2 organizations that is their focus, and they have chapters across the country, so that's been great. And last, I'm a mentor of a young woman through the North County Philanthropy Council, helping her to kind of learn the ropes about grant writing. The mission of my company is to affect positive change through the written word, and we've been able to help organizations across the globe to raise millions and millions of dollars for various different causes, and many of those causes help women. And some of my favorite ones that I've really enjoyed working with is an organization that helps homeless women to get off the street and obtain job training. We also right now are helping women and their children to get out of terrible domestic violence situations, and then helping women business owners scale up their businesses, which helps families, it helps neighborhoods, it helps geographies, it helps everybody when businesses, especially women-owned businesses, are able to scale up. And then personally, I've been in recovery for about 30 years now, and I lead and co-lead women's recovery groups, as well as some 12-step recovery studies for women. So I invest my time and resources to help other women that are struggling with addiction and other life issues. And then I give financially to several women-run organizations, including one that helps women to get out of the sex trade industry. And inequity has always been bothersome to me, and everybody here has experienced inequity, especially in the workplace. So I have a high sense of justice, especially about the way that women have historically been mistreated, and it's not okay with me. So my company pays a living wage to women. We make a positive difference through the companies that we work with. And currently my team are all women in my company, and that it has been great. And I'm also providing training and growth opportunities for them. And we really do make a difference because of what we do, and we care about what we do.
Taking 25 years of the study of human behavior through coaching and NLP and theta and a series of other things to really speak the overarching message that at the end of the day, we are part of a legacy. We're part of a legacy. We're part of a legacy within our family. We're part of a legacy that's within our communities. And being part of a legacy means the financial legacy, but it also means the emotional legacy that we are passing from one generation to another, from one community to the next. And understanding that role, we are also able to understand the power that we have in what it is that we're saying, how we're contributing. So that is my life work, and that is what I'm doing. I think that the biggest thing that we as women need is support. We spend our lives giving, and so many of us don't often get the experience of support.
When I was a teenager, my mom said something to me that made a huge impact on my mind. And she said to me in a heightened moment where we were having a fight, an argument, and she said, "You will never amount to anything." And I heard that as a 15-year-old. And it was something that, the phrase, "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt me." Whoever said that's the biggest fallacy ever, because words do hurt, and especially when they're meaningful words. And that stuck with me for a number of years. And it's what led me to hypnosis, to learn how to get that message out of my mind, because I knew it wasn't going to benefit me moving forward. And so the first step was obviously to forgive my mom. And the second step was to reframe my own thoughts. So the legacy that I want to leave is to be able to teach women to really know how to manage their minds, thoughts, and emotions. That ability changes everything. And that is what is behind your confidence, is being able to manage your thoughts and emotions. So it's really about trusting yourself more. That's the impact that I want to make, is to trust yourself more in business, with your family decisions, in your life decisions. And, growing up, I didn't feel like I had a whole lot of support. And so for me to learn what it is to actually be able to receive support from women, it has become just what I want to continue to give back. So I've been doing that for 20 years through hypnotherapy programs, through seminars, through workshops, through one-on-one coaching. And I have done that as a mother. I had a child at 20 years old. And so I've been in my own business since 1998. And with that, raising children. And, I think that we need to embrace that we can do both. We can be business owners, we can be mothers, and we are then teaching our children how to be able to show up as their best selves, to be confident, to learn, to be in growth. And the ways that I really feel that I've been able to make an impact for women is through their self-esteem, through their growth, through their healing. I can think of a particular woman that she's always on my mind, because she's what makes me want to show up. And she's a woman that went through one of my programs, and she lost over 100 pounds. And through that process, she became incredibly confident. And so it wasn't about the weight. It was about really owning who she is. She says that she would feel 2 inches taller after listening to hypnotherapy programs, you know, and being able to then wake up that day with a smile and look at people in the eye. And she said for so many years, this was at 40 years old that she made this transformation. And she said that for her whole life, she wasn't able to look at people in the eye. And so to be able to really be just confident in her skin, like Skyler had said, I hope that I am still doing this from the grave. This is my honor to give back to women in need and to just really help them to develop a confidence in themselves, that whisper that they have of their dream, that we are the steps of how to make that happen in the organization that I run.
You know, I look at it as targeted communities for income inequality. So, and part of even trying to structure this and scale and sustain this work, it's creating it in a way that someone always has access to it. And it's not that if you attend a session and then you hire me personally, I gave you this information. No, it's when you come to class, you leave prepared and are able to train the next person. So in seeing what is amazing to me is seeing and hearing that someone who is their highest level of education is a high school diploma. And when we ask them, what did you unlearn? Not just what did you learn, what did you unlearn? I learned that I am not limited to the circumstances I was born into. Then for them to double their pay and then to train someone in their family to do the very same work. So it's looking at also organizations and people who work with those targeted communities and have been doing it for far longer and far better than I have, and then asking and partnering with them to help me figure out how we can create the greatest access. So part of that means that when I teach the class in 2 hours, it's pay where you are. Everyone chooses what that means to them. I have fundraising for Allies for Equal Pay. There's something for all of these engaged allies that say that they want to put their skin in the game and do something about racial inequity and economic injustice. Here you go, packaged, ready to go. And so the expectation is that everyone who comes to do this work, you are leaving with a set of keys, and we give everyone a key with a green ribbon, and your instruction is to help somebody else, then teach them through the same story that you have, put them in a private Facebook group, and then everyone learns off of that collective experience and the emotional process of what happens when you're sitting down and actually having a conversation instead of waiting to be at the mercy of someone else to tell you, you're eligible for a 2% increase, or we're just going to pay you this. So to hear someone tell me that they can sit across from the CEO who is twice their age, and in one conversation, the hardest conversation they may have, and yet the simplest in other ways, for them to double their income, and then their family's trajectory changes, and then the cumulative impact of that money changes. And then not just that, but when you have a conversation, it's like everyone thinks that that what you get is the money. It's the education that you receive. It's far better, more valuable than my graduate degree and my bachelor's degree combined, which in no way prepared me for being a Black woman in the corporate world. When I'm making a third of what my colleagues are making for doing the same work and doing it better, where people are asking me, oh, you speak so well for you, right? And then what part of that comes down to like even the look at how they choose to value me, or what they choose to pay me, or support my business instead of hiring the world's best person. And so in all of those big and little ways, I've built my business, I have structured my life to try to do and live in this way. So the impact, over the last year, 147 people have earned over $500,000 in salary negotiations, $273,000 cumulative impact from measuring their family's impact. And on top of that, tuition reimbursements, certifications, flexible work schedules. And when I think to the fact that when I started this whole thing, and that I built my life around avoiding conversations around money because I was so tired of the power imbalance all of the time. And I didn't know how. I understand I'm intellectually supposed to negotiate for pay, but what do I say? And what do I say when they tell me no? And what do I say when they say, well, you know, you're still new, but I'm still doing the work, right? And so the business is structured, my life is structured, and all of us are structured in a way that we are not just building a business, but building a legacy and determining what metric or how we measure success, which for me is when someone is going and having a conversation that they were designed to be afraid of, and they sit there and they do it.
So, Michelle Bergquist, I'm making you go after that. I'm sorry, girl.
Seriously, Skyler for president. Did you see that in the chat?
Did you, Deanna?
That was funny. Like, I'm going after Skyler. Seriously, but that was amazing. You know, I find it interesting, the phrase women in need. And the only reason I say that is because when you ask the question, it's like, how do we support women in need? My first thought is many times women don't ask. I mean, the thing that's crazy about women, and I'm a woman, so I can say that, right, is that sometimes, you know, we have that facade where it's like, we got it. We don't ask for help. It's like, you know, we're on top of it. So I think, you know, at least in our association, one of the interesting parts that have been an impact, and also how we support women, is that we're getting women to ask, you know, and say, hey, gosh, you know, I'm really looking for this, or it's like, I could use support on that. And those are for our members. But I guess the other piece of it, when you think of women in need, you know, we, for 12 years, I mean, since we started, and even before that, with the partner that I had on a big mega mixer that went on in San Diego, you know, one of the things that's always been a driving force for me is like, when you make money and there's success with it, it's like, you know, make sure you pay it forward, right? Or pay it back, and make sure you help the next one in line. And I think from our association, it's been a footprint. I mean, every single year, it's like we select a nonprofit that supports women or young girls, and we raise money for them. I mean, I've had, again, lots of conversations with nonprofit organizations, and for our community, you know, we could volunteer. It's like we have members that are involved in different nonprofit organizations. But when we went back and asked some of these leaders of nonprofits what they really are looking for, I mean, give us, what do you need? And ask them to tell us, it's always cash as the driving force. So we put our money where our mouth is. It's like one of our really most impactful nonprofits that we've raised money for is the Foundation for Women Warriors. And we looked for an organization for 3 years that really, truly only supported female veterans as a very women-centric leadership association. In addition to that, we felt we were missing for a few years because we've got women covered, but, you know, also it's like we have so many members that are wonderfully, they've been in their positions a long time. And so we started a mentoring program just last year as a pilot program with Cal State Fullerton, where we are working with young university women that are getting ready to graduate. And so I feel like we've hit different levels, but one that again was missing for us that we implemented just this year and got our nonprofit status was forming a 501c3. It's called Sue Rising, and it's an offshoot from our Sue Talks, where we can take some of these competitions, let's call them, where they're talks, and help young girls find their voice, persuade on stage, do a 6-minute version of a talk by adults. But you know, what's sad is so many girls now are getting out of high school or getting into college and they just can't communicate. STEM is great, you know, the focus on science and technology and engineering and math, but I think at the end of the day, if you really want to succeed, it's like you still need to communicate well. So those are some of our things that we've helped women in need. And then the other big one, I have to say, looking over our history, is as an organization, the last few years, there's been so much focus on women serving on corporate boards, which has been amazing. Like, I want to see a woman in the White House. It's like, I want to see women on the corporate corner offices and all that. But we took a different approach, and our focus was how to help women get on nonprofit boards. And so we did a lot of panels and discussions to help women understand what is it like to go and serve and support a nonprofit, not just by offering your opinion, but again, putting money to the table. You know, you need to be able to raise funds for a nonprofit. What do nonprofit leaders look for? So I think in a well-rounded way, I always like to say we're never done, we're never perfect, and this is what we do today. So I think the next 12 years in the future, it's like it's always going to be a part of what we do to give back and find out what more women want. So thank you.
One of the ways that I am building a purposeful organization is For me, it starts even before a lawsuit's filed. It really starts when I'm choosing what cases I'm willing to take on. And so I'm really purposeful in what clients I take on, what types of cases I take on. I represent a lot of people who have been sexually harassed in the workplace, discriminated against in the workplace, paid an unequal wage in the workplace. And that's one of the ways I'm building my organization to be purposeful and really help women. The other way is by empowering my own employees. It's really important for me to empower my employees and everyone who works on any of my cases to grow and to be the best that they can be, and really empower them to be able to work within a professional environment in a way that makes them receive their worth.
How I help women in need is a balancing act. And it's balanced by developing my own healthy self-interest. I come from the nonprofit sector. Arboreta Group is 5 years old. I've spent most of my professional life in the nonprofit sector. We're kind of socialized to be a martyr. Financially, right? You do good work, so you really don't need to be paid market rate for that. So I'm in a constant self-reflection and have to surround myself with support of other women that are seeking their market rate as well, right? So I have that healthy self-interest side, and then I have the need to give back. So I've learned to become really conscious in my pro bono hours that I give. They're concrete and they're conscious. And the project that I'm working on right now, Pro Bono Hours, is I help facilitate a group of women that are stakeholders in a collaborative called All About Girls of Color, with the primary nonprofit organization being Detour Empowers. They're based in southeastern San Diego, and they're geared women, young girls of color into STEM careers. So I spend time with this group. I donate my time, my attention, to develop this collaborative. And this group of women of color, primary goal during this COVID piece, and I think it will last beyond that, is to be a safe space for each other so they can be a safe space for girls of color. And on a really practical impact way, philanthropic funding, I just read in one of the trade journals, trade magazines last month, monies that go to programs specifically for girls of color is in the single digits. It's not a funding priority for this society. And it shows in the outcomes and the impacts, right? So the way that I help women in need is, one, to help myself, because I think it's an inside out thing, to be a part of a tribe of supportive women, so we can model to these young girls how to take care of yourself in this world. They can hear what we say, and they can watch what we do.
A fun thing about me is I love to dance. I can't think of anything.
Fun thing for me is that you see my wall behind me, and it's like I have no children. I live, eat, breathe, and obsess in business, which is always fun, but I always think there's a fun factor. So for those of you that don't know the movie Frozen, there is a little character named Olaf that just kind of keeps me grounded, and that's why I love Disney movies, but Olaf is about letting it go. And so for me, it's like, you know, cartoons and Disney characters kind of keep me in the child mindset, because what we do is serious stuff, and I love what I do. So that's something different.
I love to open water swim. So I keep my fins in the trunk of the car. Whenever I get a second, stop myself from sweating, just jump in the Pacific.
Every couple of years, I like to just pick a random hobby, something that I don't have any background in, any necessarily skill in, and something that's not at all law related. So I have a whole bunch of different hobbies. My latest one, I actually picked up before COVID came down and forced us into lockdown, and it's drawing. So I've been drawing lots of portraits, and I have kind of an ongoing joke that I'm drawing my dinner party guests since we can't have gatherings.
My fun thing is that about a year ago, I started taking martial arts training, and that has really helped me physically and mentally, so I had better win this contest. Just kidding, edit that part out, Felina. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Any particular style of martial arts you do?
Krav Maga, the most BA one of all, so yeah.
So a fun fact, let's see, about me is that, first of all, I have hiked Mount Whitney when I was 11 years old, the highest peak in the United States, and I did it for a bean burrito. That was my motivation. My dad said, I'll give you whatever you want if you just keep going, and I was fantasizing about a bean and cheese burrito. And the other thing I would say is just the physical fitness. I've run over 100 marathons, and I've run every single one of them with a smile on my face and joy in my heart. I think it's a huge part of personal growth is to be physical and to, on your own 2 feet, know how to accomplish something. And so I think it's a great trait for any woman in business that also wants to just feel that feeling of accomplishment.
One of my favorite things to do with my adult son is to spend the day watching really bad TV, really bad. Our reality show, you know, I'm watching it with my hands over my face going, how could they do that? Just tell them the truth, you know? So we've been known to do catfish marathons, World Star Video marathons. Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do is to watch really bad TV all day.
Love it, love it.